The United States is in danger of splitting into two distinct Americas, one for the rich and one for the poor. In the rich America, opportunities abound, social mobility is possible, and your success is only limited by how hard you work. In the poor America, opportunities are scarce, social mobility doesn't exist, and your success is mostly up to luck. That means that if you happen to be born poor, you'll stay poor no matter how hard you work. This current trend towards a two-track economy started at around the mid-1970s, when economic productivity and employee wages stopped increasing side by side. Before that point, from around 1945 to 1975, productivity and wages increased or decreased together. But after, as productivity and profits continued to grow, wages remained stagnant, and they've remained that way for about 40 years. If wages had increased along with productivity, economists estimate that the minimum wage would be closer to $19 an hour. There are a lot of factors that explain the disconnect between productivity and wages, but a couple of the most prominent have to do with cultural perception around wealth and poverty and the decline of American unions. According to a UN report on extreme poverty in the US, Americans tend to think of wealthy people as industrious, entrepreneurial, and drivers of economic success, while poor people are seen as wasters, losers, and scammers. As a result, investing in rich people is perceived as a solid investment, while investing in poor people is perceived as a waste of money. This dynamic leads to a moral justification for why we reward the rich while we punish the poor, and it feeds an endless cycle of poverty that's very hard to get out of. Case in point, right now US states are spending about $50 billion a year on prisons versus $75 billion to support higher education. The decline of unionization has also contributed to this disconnect between wages and productivity. And because major corporations fear the power of collective bargaining, they've gone to great lengths to crush labor unions. As a result, the bargaining power of the average worker has been decreasing for decades. So what can you do? According to MIT economist Peter Temin, the one thing that breaks through this kind of two-track economy is education. We need to support more purposeful investment in education from early childhood to college. It's the one thing that has a huge impact on social mobility, and it can help us dramatically erase systemic poverty. Globalization, automation, and the rise of artificial intelligence are only going to accelerate the movement towards a rich and poor America. As the wealthiest country in the world, we should lead by creating the highest quality of life for all our citizens and not just the privileged few. Peace.